Most of us have lived our lives without having to worry about supply. Well, it's coming to an end, guys. The supply chain has been eroding since 2008. Prices have been going up since then. I remember a time back then that I could go into a store, any store, find anything I wanted on my list, go to one store. Now I have to go to 4. And the prices are sky high. I am blessed to have a friend nearby who gives us free eggs laid by her chicken. We gift her something, something canned, because she's a blessing on earth. And sometimes she allows us to pay for what she gives us. I think maybe once. So we still are in the category of having a lot of blessings in our house, in our lives, and we're not lacking anything. But those days are coming where people are going to, that haven't lacked anything, are going to start lacking. And then you'll hear the shouts. Just think, you wake up one day, lights are out. No gas stations are running. It's chaos on the streets in a vehicle. No banks are open. You can't use your credit cards anywhere. And grocery stores are shut down. How long would you exist on what you have? You got to think on those terms during today. You have to. Sorry guys, you have to face up and be prepared.
But yes, the government is still shut down. It's still ongoing. And a lot of people are freaking out because as of this Saturday, November 1st, the SNAP, which you know is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which basically is EBT, because that has to go through the SNAP. Anyway, it will be cut off, and millions have already received the messages letting them know that they will not be having that coverage in November. And the government's saying possibly for December. So we're talking all the holidays. So people are actually on TikTok now. This don't make sense to me. People are actually on TikTok and YouTube making posts with their face and their voices and their accounts saying that like they're losing it. Like they're just crashing out, and they're saying if that happens for real, that they're going to go out and just start robbing.
But this is what I want to tell you about that, Darlene. The fallout is happening.
Right.
There was a robbery at Barry's Pizza.
Which one?
The one on 3rd? I mean, Beverly?
No, the one on 3rd or Beverly. 3rd is closed.
The other one.
Oh, the one on Sunset.
All I'm saying is this.
It's going down.
Everybody who out here shining, pulling up in big expensive cars, jewelry, listen to me. Listen to your brother Corey. Them days are fading. Shining while in the streets is not the thing to do. Unless you got on some fake jewelry that you can get them right away when they ump them things. Because they umping them things on everybody who's shining. You don't think you will be followed. You don't think, because it's new to the world just how bad it's getting.
Oh.
Homie, them people who will get it how they will get it are watching you as you shine. So if you ain't got the henchmen with you, standing ready for what's gonna come,
right,
the days of shining, that's over. When I'm on stage, I might have on some jewelry or something like that. But when I'm out going to a pizza place, when I'm out going whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, you best to have that, God damn it, if you out here shining, cause you naked if you don't. This is America. It is actually out of business. I heard the lines at the ATL airport was around the corner. People missed their flights because TSA ain't getting their checks, and them people didn't show up. So at the Atlanta airport, this is what I heard, it was a long wait just to get on the other side where your flight is, because they not paying them people. Homie, America is out of business, homie. Shining. You better have something to protect your shine if that's what you got to do. What up?
Correct me if I'm saying this in the comments incorrectly, but it was because the Weinstein list was about to come out.
He said Weinstein, I'm thinking Epstein.
Who's on the list.
That sounds about right.
And I guess somebody that was involved with it has, there's about to basically call him and testify. And so the only way to stop that from happening is if they shut the government down.
Something big, right?
Well, the government was allowed to be shut down, and ain't
Epstein.
no one man got the power to do that. This is all part of a plan.
Right.
This is not one man with the power to do anything.
He's got a lot of people on his side.
The people in charge of this country got you to go put your dig in you. The people who are in charge of this country at one time told not only black women, but I say black women, if you want welfare assistance, you can't have a man in the house. This is what they told the people of this country.
Right.
All this is okayed by a higher power that has a plan to make sure we are brought down. And I bring up the thing about shining because I don't want you to go out and finance some jewelry that's finna get you robbed.
Right.
I don't want you riding around on a regular day with your Lambo you somehow was able to afford. Cause goddamn it, if you black, how did you get a Lambo? I know what they cost. If you out in your Lambo, you cannot be riding around on La Brea and Sunset.
They gonna snatch you up out of there.
Because the streets is watching you when your they like, there go one.
The flexing is over.
There go one.
Yeah.
We finna come up.
And it's just like you said, Corey, it is just gonna get worse.
Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Wakakradash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim pushing this word across the four corners of the world. And just a quick news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. And as you can see what's currently going on within this world's current events, current news, where America, aka Babylon the Great, is facing some very serious political, economic, and social challenges. Even to the point where these economists and analysts are all hinting at the point that America is on the brink of an imminent economic collapse, and more so an engineered or orchestrated economic collapse. And I was just checking out some recent news updates where America's supply chain index is continually on the decline as tariffs hit America's economy. And where you have 8 out of 10 supply chain risk categories show decline for the fourth quarter. And now the elephant in the room, hence this government shutdown 2025, is now in the midst of its second longest shutdown, which is 33 days and counting, which is a great domino effect where roughly 42 million Americans rely on SNAP benefits and where that's leaving many low-income families scrambling. So that vibration alone is causing a lot of uncertainty amongst millions of Americans, which all points to the signs of our times, hence the signs of Yahawashi's second coming. And that takes me right to the book of Luke 21 verses 25 to 28 in the GNT, and that's the Good News translation. And from the heading, as you can see, the coming of the Son of Man. And that's referring to our Lord and Savior of the nation of Israel, YAHAWASHI. And it says, there will be strange things happening to the sun, the moon, and the stars, aka these lunar eclipses or these blood moons. On earth, whole countries will be in despair. afraid of the roar of the sea and the raging tides. So that's the point. On earth, whole countries will be in despair. And what's another synonym for despair? Uncertainty, hopelessness, which absolutely fits these struggling Americans within today's time. And that takes me right to Ecclesiastes 12 verse 3. In a day when the keepers of the house should tremble, and the keepers of the house are referencing to these top economists, or these economic analysts, these stock market watchers, and these particular individuals are all forecasting an impending economic collapse within America, and where everything will transition into a global digital paradigm. So in the day when the keepers of the house should tremble, again, referring to these economists, and the word economy means household management, and the strong men should bow themselves, and that's referring to the elites of Esau Edom, hence these international bankers, who are all engineering the countdown to the collapse of the petrodollar, which is all leading into the MOTB system. And the grinders cease because they are few, and that goes into the workers within America. And I came across a post just the other day, and under this cruel lord, hence Donald Trump, nearly 1 million Americans have lost their jobs this year alone. And it's the largest number of layoffs since 2020, which was also during this cruel lord Donald Trump's previous term. So in the grinders cease because they are few. And as this government shutdown hits its second month, you have a lot of furloughed federal workers are finding new sources of income after weeks not receiving their paychecks. So therefore, they are finding side gigs to make ends meet. And while these international bankers of Esau Edom are orchestrating this imminent economic collapse, it's all within the midst of the holidays, where these Americans wholeheartedly invest into. So all of this political and economic turmoil is all systematically designed by the so-called powers that be. And what that vibration is causing upon the everyday average American, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So that backs up the point where we just read within the book of Luke, the 21st chapter. In the 25th verse, and the point right here says, on earth, whole countries will be in despair, afraid of the roaring of the sea and the raging tides. So therefore, a lot of people are within that state of hopelessness, perplexity, uncertainty, which is fulfilling this end-time biblical prophecy of the signs of thy times. And on top of that, these people cannot spiritually pinpoint on why these divine catastrophic events are taking place. They know something is wrong, but they cannot spiritually pinpoint on why these things are transpiring. And that's gradually causing more people to become mentally unbalanced or emotionally unstable. And with that being said, people will faint from fear as they wait for what is coming over the whole earth. So a lot of people are going to be having heart attacks, are going to be having strokes, just totally giving up the spirit due to these sad perils that's coming upon this earth. And we're seeing the build up to Isaiah 33:6, how wisdom and knowledge of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWAH shall be the stability of our times as the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. And it says, for the powers in space going into these international bankers will be driven from their courses. According to Isaiah the 47th chapter, it's stated how the so-called powers that be on the left-hand side, along with Esau's left-handed priesthood, these warlocks, witches, astrologers, prognosticators, and the list goes on, how they're going to be weary in the multitude of their counsels. And that brings me to this article right here, which I have brought up from time to time because it really highlights the time frames that we are currently in. And this is from newstarget.com, and the title says, Countdown to Collapse of the Petrodollar. America's dollar dominance is coming to a sudden catastrophic end. Total chaos will follow. And this article came out on March the 17th, 2022. And it says right here, Project Sandman describes a 100+ nation agreement that, when triggered, will see these nations simultaneously dump the dollar and abandon the petrodollar status that has allowed the USA to enjoy 50 years of fiat currency counterfeiting in material abundance at the expense of everyone else. When this decision is triggered, the dollar and all dollar-denominated assets will plunge to near zero literally overnight. This means all dollar-denominated bank accounts, bonds, pension funds, treasuries, and other investment vehicles will essentially be worth zero for the simple reason that all banks and markets will freeze operations. This is the James Rickards ICE 9 scenario. Any funds you have in the stock market will be stuck in those markets, and the entire infrastructure of banking and finance will suffer a catastrophic liquidity crisis that will freeze nearly all financial transactions. Credit cards will stop functioning, food stamp systems will go down and stay down, and what we're currently going through right now. This SNAP benefits funding freeze, which is roughly affecting 42 million Americans that rely on these government assistance programs. So credit cards will stop functioning, food stamp systems will go down and stay down, ATMs will not function, wire transfers will be halted, checks won't be honored, and banks will appear to be offline when accessed through the internet, displaying maintenance messages to panic users. The dollar collapse is a deliberate plan to force the starving masses into a digital dollar-controlled grid. This scenario has been engineered for a deliberate collapse of the dollar fiat currency and an attempted forcing of everyone into a digital dollar system run by the banksters, which is referring to the strong men that bow themselves in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, as we just read. And it says, in the midst of the panic, people will be promised a universal basic income, which is a UBI, and food credits. Food rationing will be strictly enforced, but only if they use the approved digital wallet system run by the very same criminals who spent the last 50 years looting the value of the dollar. Desperate people will comply, and they will sell their souls and their freedom in exchange for a few more meals, even while their futures are obliterated by the mark of the beast financial system that will forever keep them enslaved and impoverished. And this is all going to lead into the implementation of the Karatma. And that's the microchip according to the Holy Bible when you read the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, and also Revelation, the 14th chapter, and also Revelation, the 20th chapter. The MOTB, which is gradually approaching America and all over the world. Because again, this is a NWO, a new world order. So the so-called powers that be are orchestrating this chaotic environment, hence this order out of chaos. So therefore they can come in and offer the people or the masses their solution, which is ultimately this MOTB financial system. And that's why the so-called powers that be, aka these technocrats, are buying up all the farmland and causing much economic havoc upon these farmers, where they want to have all the food assets, and that's causing more food insecurities. And where these technocrats want to have everything digitally monitored. So they're hoarding all the food into themselves, and they're about to soon starve out the masses. And we are really starting to witness how Esau Edom, beginning with their international bankers, are really becoming the god of this world. Because in order for you to operate within their digital infrastructure, you would have to have that Karatma, that MOTB. And a lot of these Americans and people around the world as well are going to break frame, and they're going to give in to this global digital paradigm. So when these Americans won't have the obligation to access their bank accounts, they're going to go in straight panic mode. And that type of chaotic environment is going to breed a dog-eat-dog world, where you're going to have the have against the have-nots, which means a societal division between the wealthy, hence the haves, and the poor, hence the have-nots. And what type of atmosphere is that creating within America? Division, hence the divided states of America, which is a telltale sign of a kingdom, an empire, or a family that's about to fall apart. And that takes me right to Mark 3:23 within the NLT, which is the New Living Translation. YAHAWASHI called them over and responded with an illustration. How can Satan cast out Satan? He asks. A kingdom, hence America, divided by civil war will collapse. So going back to these strong men that bow themselves, which are referring to these elites of Esau Edom, these international bankers, they're pretty much breeding a simulation of the Hunger Games. And they're laughing behind the scenes of these Americans going on social media, having financial meltdowns, people fighting within the grocery stores due to the lack of food. And that demonic vibration is creating an animalistic behavior out here. A dog eat dog world. Again, the haves against the have-nots. So a kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. We are definitely witnessing the heightened tension of the political polarity within America, the economic vulnerabilities, the national debt, the immorality, like all types of social challenges. So again, a kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. And a civil war 2.0 is definitely coming to the doorsteps of America. Verse 25. Similarly, a family splintered by feuding will fall apart. And that family splintered can be referenced unto these modern Egyptians, aka these Americans. Hence, Isaiah the 19th chapter, how YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Verse 26. And if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He will never survive. And that's the ultimate fate of America. It's not going to survive these political, economic, spiritual, and social challenges. Like America's condition is within that grim state, and it's gradually circling the drain. So therefore, again, it will never survive. And that takes me right to 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, within the GNT, the Good News translation again. And as you can see from the heading, the coming disasters. Hence these divine plagues of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua. I'm going to jump down to verse 14. It says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. And the main war is going to be World War III, but trickling on down, you're going to have a lot of class, social, race, and political wars. Verse 16, there will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. Hence, all of this madness concerning the left-wing paradigm against the right-wing paradigm. However, those two wings are still attached to the same bird, heading to the same direction of this demonic NWO. So there will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government, because pretty soon these starving masses will come to their breaking point and they're going to say the hell with these political leaders, like from the president, the vice president, the senators, the governors, the mayors, these local government workers. Verse 17, there will no longer be free access to the cities, hence these digital martial law checkpoints, where this impending economic collapse will transition into a digital infrastructure, where it's going to be a universal basic income, a digital social credit score, and also these digital smart cities. And again, the only way you can be able to navigate or exist into this new digital paradigm, you will have to have that charisma, the microchip. Verse 18, because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. And we just read within Luke 21 about the distress of nations, how these people are within that state or condition of perplexity, uncertainty, and hopelessness. And they do not have the spiritual answer on why these divine catastrophic events are occurring. But through the gift of the Holy Spirit, we do as the hopeful elect. And that's why I stated earlier, through the Spirit, we are seeing the build up to Isaiah 33:6, how wisdom and knowledge of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua should be the stability of our times. Like these people are really breaking frame right now, all within a state of so-called normalcy. So therefore, how much more when this American society really break down to a dog-eat-dog world? And that chaotic environment is going to breed the have against the have-nots. And with that being said, verse 19, driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. And that pretty much highlights the opening video of that Edomite woman saying how times are getting more difficult, prepare for hard times, and chaos is going to erupt within America due to the lights going out, the gas stations are going to start running, and that vibration is going to create a very demonic, animalistic environment. Because again, people will be driven by famine and terrible suffering. People will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. So relating to that other video of the Jake comedian Corey Holcomb, how he was going into how America's out of business, and it's no time to be trying to shine out here. Because we as the hopeful let we know, according to Colossians the 4th chapter and the 5th verse, we supposed to walk in wisdom toward them that without, redeeming the time, which we are entering into some very, very perilous times. And where the wisdom of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua will be our ultimate light throughout this mass confusion, shambles, and darkness. All right, so finishing this off within the book of Luke 21 verse 27, again within the GNT. Then the Son of Man, referring to Yahawashi, will appear coming in a cloud, hence a gigantic so-called UFO or spaceship, which are the chariots of Israel according to the Holy Bible, with great power and glory. When these things begin to happen, stand up and raise your heads, because your salvation is near. And these drastic or draconian measures have to take place. Remember, it's stated within Acts 14:22, through much tribulation should we enter into the kingdom of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushua. And also according to Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So we are gradually seeing the fall of Esau, Edom, and the uprise of the elect of the nation of Israel, the biblical Israelites. So that concludes a lesson right there through the Spirit. And with that, hopefully you all stay edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.